Hey, it would be awesome if you'd take just a minute or so and just give a quick intro about yourself so everybody knows, kind of your super cool backstory. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's super cool, but
I think so.
uh, I'll share it for sure. Emily Steele, I am currently with Savannah. I'm kind of a serial financial services on the technology side. My career has been solely focused in that arena for the past 25 plus years. Don't ask about the plus. That's not allowed.
I get
Um,
it. Yeah.
but I've focused on all different areas of banking from a technology perspective. I've sat on the core side of technology. I've sat on the front side of more self-service applications where we're surrounding a core. And at the end of the day, it's a crazy thing to be passionate about, but really, really love the space.
I love it. Yeah. And for anybody out there that noticed, she's used the word surround. Very, very good core industry term, man. So I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So people,
This is true.
It is an insider term.
yeah, if you've got core background, I mean, it's a huge benefit. Back in the old days when I was younger, I worked, for cores and doing this stuff. And, at the time it was like, what am I ever going to use this for?
When you were there, it was the only thing.
Right. So it's pretty neat that, I think there's a big missing link of education there that a lot of people that try to enter this space today, they don't have a firm understanding of how things work. And if you've got that background, it's X's and O's, man, all the way.
So first question, can I ask an easy, it's actually a hard one.
Easy.
Ready?
I like easy.
Okay. Just your perspective though. If you looked from, to my comment to him, looked at core, go back, a handful of decades, the ecosystem, the footprint at a bank was pretty simple, right? It was a pretty small footprint. And to your point, the things that surrounded the core and the things that surround the surrounding surrounds, right? That hierarchy has expanded drastically, right? And certainly, I mean, guys, we'll call it 15 years, I've probably seen it double, right? And so just getting your perspective there, the complexity that's gone on, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting question because you're absolutely right. It did used to be much more simple. And today there's hundreds of technologies that banks choose from, but need to run their business, right? If you think in a bank, there's commercial products, there's mortgage products, there's retail products, there's wealth products, and all of those products create complexity inside a bank, not just from the back. We think about core and we use the term in the industry often, and we're talking about the back. And I think that term has evolved, and core technology is not just about the back end, the transaction processing, but it's all of the systems. And now there's core technologies necessary to support self-service channels for consumers in the front with mobile, online banking, online account opening. Now we've got kiosks and everything then for servicing with payments that connect, and then all of the services for bankruptcy tracking and looking at ACH. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So a bank's technology stack has become, you're exactly right, it's become extremely complex. Yep. But I also think that's part of when I laugh about my, long duration in the industry, but one of the things that I challenge myself with is we've made so much progress in introducing net new technology to help banks advance, but we're still talking, or banks are still talking about the same problems that they've been talking about over my entire career. So when we think about, how do they continuously modernize? How do they innovate? How do they meet consumer demands and get products to market quickly? What we've done with all this additional technology is we've complicated the problem, and we've made that so difficult to modernize. And I think that I shared, I've come at it from the back and I've come at it from the front. Yes. Across my career. And recently I took about a year off, and thought about, man, how can I say I've been in this industry for this long and I'm still talking about the same problems? We haven't solved them. And now I am excited about looking at it from a different point of view and actually tackling those problems, not from the back, not from the front, but from inside the bank. I think modernization is about coming at the same problems, but from a different point of view and actually solving them, not band-aiding them, if you will.
I love it. Okay, you got me going now. So I read so much into what you're saying there, and I think to break it down simply, if you looked at the core side of things from a core processor perspective, the bundle, right, it is really what we're talking about here. And I mean, you think about things, just independently system of record, that's a lost cause to even have the conversation these days, to your point. And the footprint of all the surrounding parts of the bundle has gotten so expansive, and interoperability and interconnectivity is a maze, which has created this massive lift of conversion pain, right? And so to your point, the pain to add and change and, as you actually get more fractional and tied up, gets more and more difficult. And I think as we watch the age of those channels, as new things have come on, it's like everybody's shocked that a handful of years into a new channel, let's say it's online or mobile or bill pay or item processing, that the core is typically the provider,
Right.
less than the new independents. It's the obvious life cycle. And after enough years of that bundle, right, it's just become more and more cumbersome, to your point. And so I really like what you said. I too have come at it from the front side, right? Trying to build the new channels and integrate to the cores, right? And to your point, working it from the other way, and I see all the perspectives, and the bank is a little bit trapped in the middle, right?
I guess where we're going here is we're all trying to see a way that cores get, I hate the word relegated because it's not relegated, but cores need to be a system of record and nothing else. They don't need to be the operating system of the institution, right? Of everything that they do. And when you set up these new types of intermediary operating systems that literally just ledger back over, okay, now we've got power. And I think that's what you guys are going after, right?
Yeah, I think if we flip that paradigm just a bit and think about it from a consumer. So a bank's trying to run the operations, and they've got all of these silos on the back and all of these silos on the front. But I, as a consumer, if I come in, I have a relationship with the bank that may touch many of those systems, right? So you think about the complexity for a bank. I come in through a self-service channel on the front, right? Get on, and I actually want to change my address, or I call into a branch assisted channel and I want to change my address. Something that should be super simple, or something complex, like I need to make a dispute of some sort. Unfortunately, in the bank, that's happening in so many systems. The systems have their own processes. They have their own experiences. And from a consumer, I don't really care. I just want it to be easy and error prone, right? I just want it to be simple. But those silos, which are needed for the bank because they're running individual commercial mortgage, credit, et cetera, businesses, but there needs to be a single technology that overlays a digital delivery platform that sits across all of those technologies on the back and all of those technologies on the front that enable me as a consumer to call in, actually, can I change my address, and let the technology do the work and go orchestrate that process everywhere, which from a bank's perspective, they do it today, but it's manual, it's disconnected, it's error prone, it's compliance risk prone. And if there was a technology solution, and I think there is a technology solution that layers across all of that and eliminates those silos, I think then modernization, I know modernization will actually become easier. Because if you pull those processes out of the silos and then push the same consistent processes to the self-service channel, the consumer experience is going to improve and the banker's efficiency is going to improve. So I think there are ways that we can begin to help what you were talking about with making modernization easier. Let's not keep doing it the same way and expecting a different result. Let's change the paradigm and come inside the bank and do it.
Okay, so give us a little bit about, hey man, let's talk about Savannah. How do we get here? What's going on? Who's behind this thing? What are you building, and what you're solving the problem you're describing?
Yeah, and we are, and it's through, there's a shift in the industry. It's not just Savannah talking about, the paradigm mental shift. There are people talking in the industry about how do we eliminate silos, which gets me extremely excited that more people are starting to talk about it. What I would argue is, let's not solve it by doing what we've done in the past. What we've done in the past is we put lots of additional systems together to do that. We need to create a single platform. And that's really what Savannah has done. We've created a digital delivery platform that sits on top of not a single core, but multiple cores, so that you're talking to the core and sending all of those messages back. You're orchestrating a bank's operation. And then you take those same processes and you push them through via APIs to the self-service channels. So mobile gets the same process, online banking gets the same process, the kiosks, so that from a consumer perspective, it's a seamless and consistent experience. And from a back office or a bank operations perspective, it's also a consistent experience. So doing it through technology and letting technology do the work versus letting bankers or bank operations manually do the work. That's really what our mission is.
Yeah, new product integrations and ideas are much simpler to implement.
Well, so I go back to my Malazai days, right? And I mean, super visible problem. All of the API endpoints, all the third parties. And then, I mean, guys, we've been into things, not just the product integrations and interoperability, but also how products are bought and sold. What paper does it live on, right? Well, no, I mean, bill pay is always typically going to be sold on an online banking contract, right? And then we've got a different conversion file over here than a this or that, right? And all the integration maze turns into a real problem. And what we started to see there, I don't know, 10 years ago, was all of a sudden, starting in mobile and then going to online and playing in commercial, the volume of transactions that started occurring in self-service channels, right, was going through the roof. Well, so we would think, just like everybody else, right? The item processing folks, the statement people, the bill pay, everybody's sitting there saying, hey, I'm a system of record too, right? And so you get this kind of cool, okay. And it's funny to me because I think that what we've seen in the blockchain conversation in the last few years has been a really interesting analogy. It's this idea that let's all have all of our third parties run these independent ledgers, and then let's interface them all together into this just nasty maze, right? As opposed to your point, let's have one system, right, that parallels everything and come at what is vertical silos with a horizontal solution. Love it.
Yeah, it's like a new operating system, similar to what people would look at like a payment hub. It's like, okay, we do all things payments in this operating system of a hub and the idea of a hub. But if you took the concept bigger, that's what you're talking about.
No, that's exactly right. And I actually haven't, I'm going to steal that. Haven't thought of that analogy. If you don't mind, I'm going to steal that, because you're right. Payments hubs have done that for that particular vertical, right? Because there was so much connectivity in the payments industry. But I think we have an opportunity to take that even broader now and look at it across the entire bank operation. So I think you're spot on. And it's exactly what we'd like to be able to do is pioneer a different way of thinking. When you think about modernization, or a bank thinks about modernization, the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, we have to replace our core. That's what comes to their mind. I need to replace my core. I would challenge that. Yes, we've been saying that for years, but I would challenge, maybe we need to think about it first by modernizing inside the bank and really operationalizing, getting that orchestration that's running everything consistently across all of those silos. And then it will de-risk modernization. Then you can lift out a core. Your banker's experience isn't impacted. Your consumer experience isn't impacted. You don't insert compliance risk. You don't insert reputational risk where you've had to go through a mass modernization and every single process from front to back has had to change. You don't have a big uplift in training. If we flip it and think of modernization, not just from the back, start from the middle, and then you can lift out if you even need to at that point, right? But then you can lift out, or if you're looking to bring in a new modern core because it allows you to get products to market faster, etc., then you're able to do so with less risk. So I think it's just an opportunity to think differently.
Well, I think to the point, I mean, we've got some analogies and examples for the topic, right? I think especially if you look at sort of the FinTech side of the world, right? And some of the sidecar installs that we've seen, look at what we're seeing in BaaS and sponsor banks, right? It's what are fresh new lines of business that are very complicated with weird hierarchies and centricities. We're seeing that middle out approach, and it's been super successful. And I'll tell you guys, something that grabs me in what you said, I think we had one of the, the last few years, we've seen the biggest churn in core that we've seen in a long time at 2.5%, right? There's 140 of them, right? I mean, the pace of core churn and core change amongst bankers will be there when I'm like 197 years old.
And there's such a misconception
it's just
what they're going to achieve in that change. Make no mistake, there's people that need to change their core for what their strategic objectives are. But for most people, it's not what you think it's going to do. It's not, there's no magic bullet in any of this. The magic bullet lies on the front end towards the consumer and enabling those types of experiences to interface into you quickly and easily, and have you have the ability to serve your consumer in a way to where it's what they want, not what you can deliver.
Well, and I think you made a good point too. If you think about, I like your updating profile, because how many cores even support the ability to update, right? And is it a SIF or is it a birth date or right?
Yeah.
So I understand, and it's a challenge. And I think that's if we're talking about a consumer. Now let's talk about a small business, and how do we define that versus a commercial client or a wealth management, right?
So
the centricity.
Jim, this one step further, man. So, okay, if we bring in the Savannah operating system, or what do you call it?
Digital delivery platform.
Digital delivery platform. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How am I going to do this in a way that ultimately gives me a good ROI on my investment here? So, I mean, is this going to save me money? Is it going to cost me money up front, and then it saves me money in the long run? Sell me as a banker on why I want to do this, besides a way to serve my customers.
On your first day, are you ready? Sell him. Come on. Okay, now that was a hard question, to be fair.
No,
Okay.
so many good things in there, so many good nuggets. And I'll tell you, look at core, every board table, everybody's talking about how are we getting to next gen core? And then there's beautiful ROIs out there and everybody buys into them. And I agree with what you said. Are we really getting the ROI out of that at the end of the day after a transformation? Did you get the ROI? Everybody loves the front end because it's sexy, it sells, it's consumer, you assume revenue. If we talk about inside the bank and bankers bank operations, it's not as sexy. And everybody thinks, oh, am I really going to get the return on investment? Because that's the expense side of the house. And what I would challenge is, if you do it, one, you're going to have operational efficiency that you don't have today, which translates to dollars. That's ROI dollars. I would also argue that if you do that, and we truly focus on exactly what you said in driving a focus in the banks where they can truly focus on consumer experience, that's going to drive customer satisfaction and drive business to the door. That translates to revenue. I would also argue that if we do that, there's a consistency in compliance that becomes bulletproof, because if everything's truly orchestrated, it's bulletproof. And there's real dollars associated with that. So I would argue that by going inside the bank, putting technology that really overlays and orchestrates a bank's operations, that it absolutely turns to dollars. It's not the obvious revenue generator, because is it originating an account that you're going to have net new deposits on the books? No. Is it, translating to what people traditionally think of dollars? No, but it is absolutely, at the end of the day, I sincerely believe if done, it translates to actually bigger dollars, because let's look at the history of modernization. It's fraught with failed conversions, millions and millions of dollars spent with not success. And this would absolutely translate to operational efficiency, greater consumer experience, truly enabling what I consider, okay, so we've been talking about this forever, but I'm going to say it anyway. A frictionless interaction. Imagine a frictionless interaction between a bank and its customers. How long have we been talking about that?
Right.
10 years. Have we achieved it? I'm not sure.
Not even
Definitely.
close.
And this will achieve it, in my opinion.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I tell this story to all my buddies and stuff. We're talking about it, and had a banker tell me that, he's like, my daughter is never going to come in my bank and book a loan. She's going to do that on this, and we talk about this stuff a lot, just me and you hanging out. And it's like to continue to resonate in your head, that they're going to do what they're going to do. And bankers, man, how long you got to do the same damn thing and not get where you're headed before you start going, maybe there's another way to look at this issue. And I think that's really what I compliment the heck out of you guys for trying to do here, is come along and say, there's another way to look at this issue. Now, if we achieve what we're trying to achieve here with Savannah, and we had a different way that you could plug in, these tools, right? You don't have to be the creator of the next cool thing that comes onto this. You just plug the damn thing in.
Right.
This is where you're losing, whether it be the original big loss, which I think was Venmo, and now we're paying for Zelle, right? So there's just some dumb things that we've done along the way. And then
We're going to hold off because they may be competitive with us someday.
yeah, right.
And what happens is JP Morgan is instead distributing it to us through our freaking core.
And there you have it, right? So
Yeah.
if we can get in a spot to where, this is the other thing that I encourage everybody to stop for a second. Just put a time zone, freeze, everybody freeze, right? All right. Do you think we're done here? Do you think this is the epitome of technology innovation, that there's not going to be other cool things that will come along? I never even heard of Rocket Mortgage a couple of years ago, right?
Yep.
Okay. This stuff is going to keep coming and come faster. It's going to come faster. And your ability to react to that is getting slower and slower and slower. And those other opportunities. And this is why I love Bass Banking, is that they can take advantage of these things in a way to where, hey, maybe it's not their product, but eventually maybe they can do a direct bank and make it their product. That's not even the future. That's just an interim step to the future. You're talking about the future.
We've been building digital front ends for years. When they came out with voice, and I'm like, now we're going to talk to them, right? And think about the speed of like voice to screen. And then the next thing is, here's a watch, right?
Make a loan.
Yeah, there's fundamental.
But I absolutely love what you're saying, because you are right? We've moved even being in technology as a consumer. I love where banking has gone, right? I love the whole open banking and embedded banking. I mean, who doesn't want to get in an Uber and actually never, we're not exchanging cash. Who doesn't love going to Starbucks and being able to, just flash your phone over and pay? I mean, to me, that is revolutionizing banking. The challenge is, except for the big boys, they can actually, they're spending more on technology than the masses in banking. How do we make sure that many banks have the accessibility to be able to do that? And what we have to do is make modernization easier so that they can focus on innovation, so they have a chance to actually take advantage of the cool technology that's coming.
Right.
But in order to do that, they've got to be able to plug and play. And today, that's just not easy for them. And we've got to transform the way that they're able to modernize and innovate across all banks, not just the top four. We're the largest banking network around the world, right? Let's let a lot of banks have a chance to compete.
I love it.
This is it, man. Guys, this is why I was so excited to have her on here and talk with everybody about all this stuff, is that you know, we don't do the year-end projections and pontification of the
Literally in
future.
the business of selling facts and data. I can't, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
You
Yeah.
know, hey, do we sit around and have a beer on the weekends or a shot of whiskey and
Yeah,
bullshit around
yeah.
the fire and go, what do you think, man?
Yeah.
And what we're all talking about, you know, when I say we all, let's just say there's a handful of people in this industry that kind of can see a lot better than we can pontificate. We're not going to go out there and tell everybody what we think, but I can tell you what, this conversation is what we talk about on a Saturday night. This is the conversation that we see, that guys measuring how much Jamie Dimon spends on technology. Who gives a shit? Right?
I agree.
Who gives a shit? If you can spend less money than him and kick his ass, that's where we went.
Absolutely.
Okay. Empowering community banks, or let's just say empowering everybody but the top 4 banks to do a better job.
Right.
That is the goal. Now, what the consumers want, I don't know what they want. I don't know what they're going to want tomorrow because we probably haven't heard of it yet.
One last piece that I think is,
But can you make yourself as a banker in a position to where I don't care what it is, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go.
The last thing is
that's what she's bringing.
It's a really hip time right now in the sense that I promise thinking of the course, right? They're looking for an answer just like we are and you are, right? Everybody's the swords are down right now, right? And especially in community and regional banking, all of the providers are being pretty darn friendly, frenemies at least, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know that we have the systemic need for change, right? And so I love the one that grabbed me was your concept of starting in the middle, right, and working your way outward. That's thinking different, strategic.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's an opportunity to start breaking down the silos and exactly what you said, providing banks the ability to create that truly frictionless experience by breaking the silos and orchestrating process.
Great.
So
hub side a minute ago. I mean, if you look at we got the hub side on the payments, cool. And then what did all the cores do? They become damn near payment companies, right?
Sure.
Overnight.
Yes.
Right.
All right. So this operationalizing things that are what we'll just call, to keep it simple, technology. We don't need to go into ISVs and all the technical mumbo jumbo here to get the understanding that, hey man, the technology is going to make moves and it's going to be able to do what it's going to be able to do. But the apps and the people that are going to be able to accept those things are limitless. You're not going to keep up. You're not going to keep up if you keep doing the way you're doing it. And to this idea that we bring in a new layer that can relegate the pieces to what they're supposed to be and put that into a way that makes you flexible to where you can take on whatever the cool shit is.
That's right.
And that's really, am I missing this or is that exactly?
No. It's about letting them differentiate, right?
Yeah.
Let the technology do the work so that the bank can put their money in differentiating, right?
Well, I just want to touch real quick. I think it's super cool, the backstory, right? I'm thinking about Live Oak, the kind of Canopy ecosystem, right? And all the parts and pieces, Finxact and, others. And I actually, fun story, guys, real quick. I worked with Chip and Neil probably 13 years ago on a project back in the Malazai days was how I met them, right at the very beginning of kind of the vision. So I'm a huge fan of watching sort of the expansive vision, right? And I think it's strategic in the thinking, and it's been cool to see everything, right? Going all the way back to Encino and
read every one of their earnings releases out loud and hang out with each other. Yeah, we're huge fans.
They think differently and strategically, right? And actually sass their own ideas through partners and friends. And I think it's really cool, and I can see that in everything you're talking about.
But your point, they've got a
Yeah, I will tell you, and that's where Savannah started, right? That was where the idea was born. And what I'm so excited about is the expansion across all cores, right? It's a core agnostic vision. It's let's not just sit on top of modern cores. That's important because that's the direction of the industry, and that is helping the modernization from the back end. But it's thinking of that across all cores and all ecosystems. That was the first ecosystem that was born with Savannah, and now that has brought in really across cores so that we can truly enable not just sitting on one core, but sitting on all, allowing that pulling up the silos or breaking the silos, if you will.
So that you're the modernizer right?
Well,
I think it's cool.
Kind of back to the point you made a second ago, man.
It's bold. It's bold, but maybe.
I love it. I
Right,
love it.
right.
Bold thinking.
But we all learn from mistakes
Mhm.
and being able to get better at what we do. And if you want to say Encino was a mistake or FinTech, other things, man, I wouldn't call those mistakes. These are actual blockbuster badass moves.
Yeah, transformational.
And then take that
That's
knowledge
the revolution and the evolution.
You bet.
and then say, okay, we see Savannah as the next move. Wow, I got a lot of faith in that right off the bat.
Yeah, it's cool. We love
Well,
things
we
that are
appreciate it.
bank born and bank built. And I'll tell you, we also love people that have been around for a long time.
Core people.
As always, right? Everybody knows each other and checks up on each other, and people that are well respected. So we really appreciate you guys, and thank you for joining us. It was a
Yeah,
fun.
it was a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Have fun.
See you next time.